What's up, Earth Gamers? Arcade here, and today we're going to be looking at detailed LMG stats and compare them versus the ARs at range, damage, and more. First, I just want to say thanks to everyone watching and subbing to get us to 1K. We have a very special announcement today. Oops, still on New Year's Eve mode. Okay, there we go. We've had a lot of cool ideas and feedback from you guys which we wanted to implement, but may not be the easiest to put on a damage spreadsheet or even a video. So today, we're adding a new layer to our guides, and we're putting the power in your hands with an app for your Apple and Android phones called Hey Potato, your little COD assistant. Working title. There's going to be a couple of features. First is a visual way to show off the in-depth stats on each weapon. Similar to the spreadsheet, but with the app, you'll be able to sort and compare weapons by TTK, ADS speed, classes, and more however you want. Second is an actual attachment stat checker. A lot of you have been asking for detailed stats on how attachments affect each weapon. As I test more and more, I realize it's hard to pull off cleanly on a spreadsheet, so we figured we'd give you the tools. The attachment tester will show you exactly how each piece raises or lowers each stat, not through visual bars like in the game, but actual numbers for over 10 different stats. Besides all the weapon stats, we also have a full-blown Camo Tracker. I like working on these things, and there's nothing worse than going through those menus over and over again. The Camo Tracker will give you an instant overview of all your progress, and an easy-to-read detail view to update your progress. And with all three features, you'll hopefully be getting through to gold camos even sooner. We're hoping to get it out in a couple of weeks, but we still have bugs to squash, features to finish up, and they won't let us put it up on the App Store until it works. Now, a lot of you have also been asking how you can support us. We wanted to have the cheapest way to support give you something in return, so we're launching a Patreon where for just $1 you'll be a part of Mutant Prime Beta. You'll get to see in real time what we're working on, test new versions of the app before they are officially out, give us feedback on what to finish or add first, an early look at some of our new videos coming out, and more. We've also got tiers with exclusive merch and other perks like the Mutant Game Pass, where we'll send you one of our favorite recent games every month from the Mutant Game Collection. If you want to know more, check out the link below. We can't wait to get some feedback on the app from you guys. Now let's look at those LMG stats. The LMGs in this game all vary in their damage range drop-off, going from 32.5 meters like the ARs all the way up to 65 meters. Most LMGs though will only have one damage drop-off point, unlike the ARs that typically had two or more. The LMGs have some other intricacies and interesting attachments that do make them viable, so let's take a closer look at each one. The LMGs don't have a ton of variation within their damage. The MG34, PKM, M91, and SA87 all do 46 damage to the head, 34 to the chest, and 31 to the limbs. That means 3 bullets for headshots or chest shots and 4 to any limbs. The MG34 is the first to experience drop-off at 32.5 meters, which takes the damage down to 42 to the head, 30 to the chest, and 28 to the body, now requiring 1 extra bullet for the chest shots as well. The PKM reaches its drop-off at 40 meters with the same damage reduction, followed by the M91 at 45 meters and the SA87 at 50 meters. Finally, we have the Holger 26, which has a lower base damage of 42 to the head and 28 to the chest, stomach, and limbs. That's 3 bullets for headshots like the others, but 4 to all other parts of the body. The Holger sees 2 drop-off ranges though. First at 45 meters, which takes it down to 34 for headshots and 23 everywhere else, followed by another drop-off all the way at 65 meters, which takes it down to 27 for headshots and 18 everywhere else. That's pretty rough, meaning you'll need 4 bullets for headshots and 6 everywhere else. So what does this all mean for their TTK? Well, the RPM for these LMGs goes down exactly in order with their range drop-off. At base ranges, the MG34 with the 860 RPM will have a top TTK of 0.14 seconds for headshots and chest, followed by the PKM with 750 RPM and a TTK of 0.16 seconds, then the M91 at 660 RPM and a TTK of 0.182 seconds, and the SA87 with 600 RPM and a TTK of 0.2 seconds. And finally, the Holger, which even with its 750 RPM does place second for headshots, but for chest shots ends up last at 0.24 seconds. This trend continues at long ranges as well, but slowly the MG34 starts to lose its spot to the PKM over 32.5 meters, and the PKM loses its spot to the M91 over 40 meters. Keep in mind, the MG34 does have the highest ADS speed as well at 0.333 seconds, but the PKM starts at 0.299 seconds. Still pretty damn long. Now, let's bring in the ARs to see how they compare. First, let's look at the headshots, where the ARs were very strong. At base range, the LMGs don't show up until the middle, with the MG34 at 0.14 seconds. The PKM and Holger come in after the M4 with 0.16 seconds, and the M91 after the Kilo, and the SA87 last. Ouch. At 33 meters, we see each weapon move up one spot as the M13 drops to 0.2 seconds along with that SA-87. Finally, at 55 meters, we see a little bit more movement up as the LMGs take the spot over the Ram, M4, and Kilo. Otherwise, pretty lackluster performance for headshots, mainly due to their big nerf that happened a couple of weeks ago. But things look pretty different when we start looking at chest shots. The LMGs placed rather high up with the MG34 right behind the FAMAS and the FAL. Then right after the Odin, we see the PKM, M91, and SA-87 all under 0.2 seconds. Finally, down after the M4, sharing the same TTK as the Kilo, is the Holger 26. Pretty good start. Now let's look at the 33 meter mark where most of the AR saw some drop off, and the LMGs here take the second spot right after the FAL with the PKM holding strong with 0.16 second TTK, followed by the M91, SA-87, and the MG34, with the Holger this time closer to the middle around 0.24 second TTK. And finally, let's take things back up to the 55 meter mark, which is pretty dang far. Here, the LMGs have seen some drop off, but still hold very strong with the MG34 near the top, the PKM between the FALs, the M91 right after, and the SA-87 between the Odin and Scar at 0.3 seconds. Very interesting results. Now, these episodes have mostly been damage guides, but right after the SMG and sniper episodes, which are coming up very soon next, we're going to have videos looking at single stats in more depth and comparing them across all the weapon classes. So far, we've heard from you guys that you want to know about recoil, reload speed, sprint out, movement speed, and even one on stopping round damage. These are all stats which we're going to have in the app to look at as well, compare, and see how each attachment affects the weapons individually. Let us know if there's anything else we should look into in the comments down below. Now, let's look at some of the most important attachments for the LMGs. You're likely going to need all the ADS speed you can get, so in all my classes, I run the lightest barrels such as the Stubby on the MG that give around a 15 to 20% boost to lower your ADS speed. If you're using the Holger with its 30 round mags, the ADS speed is already almost 30% less, so it may not be as necessary. That's up to you. Another consideration is that with the slow ADS speed, one of the better attachments for the LMGs are going to be the ones that help your hip fire. While working on the gold camo so far, hip fire was my favorite way to use the LMGs aggressively. The 1 milliwatt laser here is enough to help tighten spread by a good 20%. The tack laser is just too easy to spot, so I don't recommend using it. But if you're daring, each one will net you about an extra 10% tighter spread. As far as recoil, the MG34, PK, and the M91 all have very manageable recoil, but the SA-87 and the Holger are going to kick to the right like crazy. For these, you might want to consider adding a compensator. I found that by managing your vertical recoil, the horizontal recoil becomes much easier to control as well, and the compensator helps the most with that. Finally, with the LMG's long reload speed of anywhere from 4 to 7 seconds, I almost always use sleight of hand except with the Holger and the SA. The LMGs always promote slower play, so I really like to use everything that makes them and you quicker. Well, that's it for this episode. Next up, we have the SMG damage guide, where we'll compare the SMGs, ARs, and LMGs all together, followed by an in-depth look at all the snipers. Don't forget to let us know which stats you want to know more about for the in-depth stats videos coming after that. We're starting to play with some of these stats now for our COD Assistant app, which you can sign up for below to find out exactly when it comes out, or help us test it via our Patreon. Make sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again soon. Mutants out.